I would assume that the number for Micah Parsons needs to be like 41.1 or 41.5.
It'll be higher than that.
They could
According to
do
Jerry
it.
Jones himself, they had a handshake deal done back in March, but that ended up not getting finalized. A big piece of this is always the Cowboys want to do longer deals, strong cash flow up front, but then buy up team-friendly years on the back end of the contract. I don't know that at this point there's necessarily a rush based upon the fact that in Micah and Jerry's conversation, they knew where the number was going to be. It was always going to be north of 40. I believe it was always going to be north of 41. In my mind, the Micah Parsons number was always going to be north of this. It was going to be closer in all likelihood to 45 than it was to 40 because Micah is younger than Myles Garrett. Obviously, Myles is an unbelievably accomplished player, perennial Defensive Player of the Year candidate. But just based upon how these deals tend to go and how the markets tend to work, if a roughly 30-year-old player gets 40 and now a soon-to-be 31-year-old player gets 41, what does that mean for, I think Mike is 26, a 26-year-old Micah Parsons? And then Aiden Hutchinson is another one. He's coming off of a obviously significant injury. Everything seems like it's all systems go. He's in a different spot because they don't have to necessarily do something. But if the Lions want to get ahead of the market, and once Micah gets out there in training camp, or excuse me, once Aiden gets out there in training camp and looks like himself, maybe the Lions try to jump in here too, just because Micah's deal is in all likelihood going to blow this out of the water. And all that is with the backdrop of Trey Hendrickson, who is almost exactly the same age as TJ Watt, has not been asking for upwards of 40 million. The Bengals to this point have not wanted to do the type of multi-year commitment in terms of an extension with Trey Hendrickson that he wants. And there's a fair argument. I'm not saying that, now this adjusts the expectations or anything else, but if TJ Watt, who has been, more beat up physically, did not produce as well down the stretch last season, had fewer sacks than Trey Hendrickson, is the same age. If he's getting 41, why would Trey Hendrickson not be right in that same type of a bandwidth?